You know that moment when you're finally in the zone, solving a problem, making actual progress, and someone walks up to your desk? Hey, crazy weather we're having, right? And you can literally feel your brain screaming? Yeah, that wasn't rudeness. That was your cognitive system begging for mercy. If you'd rather sit in complete silence than discuss the traffic, the weekend, or what Susan brought for lunch for the 17th time this month, welcome. You're not broken. You're just done pretending that filling silence is the same thing as communication. Because office small talk isn't just annoying. It's a workplace tax nobody talks about. And you're paying it every single day. Quick note before we dive in. This video is for educational purposes only. If you're struggling with severe social anxiety, workplace stress, or mental health challenges that impact your professional life, please reach out to a qualified mental health professional. This isn't a substitute for therapy. Just some psychology that might help you understand yourself better. All right, let's get into it. Here's what nobody tells you about people who can't stand office small talk. They call you antisocial. You're actually just exhausted from performing. They call you cold. You're actually just honest about what matters. They say you don't fit the culture. You actually see something everyone else is blind to. Office small talk isn't bonding. It's theater. Every "how was your weekend" requires a script you didn't write. Every "crazy weather, huh?" demands a response you don't mean. Every elevator ride with a coworker becomes a 30-second audition for person who's friendly enough to work here. And your brain? It's exhausted. Not from socializing, from acting. So let's talk about why your soul dies a little every time someone asks how your morning coffee was. Here's the thing. Office small talk isn't just conversation. It's a cognitive interruption you can't control. Think about what happens when someone stops by your desk for just a quick chat. You're deep in work, focused. Your brain is holding multiple threads of thought, organizing complex information, solving problems. And then, hey, did you see that email about the parking lot? Boom. Everything you were thinking? Gone. And it's not just the conversation, it's what comes after. Research from the University of California, Irvine found something wild. 23 minutes. That's how long it takes your brain to fully return to a task after an interruption. Translation? That 30-second chat about the weather didn't cost you 30 seconds. It cost you 23 minutes of your life you'll never get back. Now do the math. 5 small talk interruptions a day. That's nearly 2 hours. 10? That's almost 4 hours. Your 8-hour workday just became a 3-hour workday. And everyone's wondering why you're always behind. Maybe because you're spending half your day recovering from conversations nobody needed to have. People who love small talk think you're being difficult. You're actually doing math. And the math says you can't afford another quick chat about someone's commute. But here's what makes office small talk uniquely brutal. You can't escape it. At a party, you leave. At a networking event, you move on. At work, you're trapped. That coworker who always wants to discuss their weekend plans, you'll see them tomorrow, and the day after, and every day for the foreseeable future. The elevator becomes social Russian roulette. Will they talk? Please don't talk. They're talking. The coffee machine? That's not a break spot. That's an ambush zone. Video calls? 5 minutes of forced, "Hey, how's everyone doing?" before the actual meeting starts. You can't avoid it. You can't be honest and say, "I don't actually care about your fantasy football league." You have to smile, nod, engage. Because if you don't, not a team player, difficult to work with, bringing down the culture. So you perform every single day. And your brain is keeping score of every fake smile, every forced laugh, every, "Oh wow, that's interesting," you didn't mean. Now here's where it gets even worse. Office small talk is repetitive. The same questions, the same responses, the same scripts on an endless loop. Monday morning. How was your weekend? Not really a question, it's a password, and you're expected to know the answer. Good. You? Good. Nobody means it. Nobody remembers it. But everyone performs it. Like actors in a play nobody wrote. Tuesday. Can you believe this weather? Thursday. Almost Friday, right? Friday afternoon. Any plans for the weekend? It's Groundhog Day, except the movie was interesting and this is just exhausting. Psychologists call this conversational habituation. When you repeat the same interaction over and over, your brain stops processing it as meaningful communication. It becomes background noise. Except you still have to participate. You still have to act like you've never been asked about your weekend before. You still have to pretend Monday morning small talk is a fresh, engaging conversation, and not the 15th time you've had this exact exchange with the same person. And here's what makes you different. You see the script. Most people engage in small talk on autopilot. They ask, "How are you?" and they're already thinking about their next sentence before you answer. They say, "Nice weather," because their brain is just filling silence, not actually communicating. But you? You're aware of the performance. You can see the script playing out in real time. They're going to ask about my weekend. I'll say it was good. They'll say theirs was good. We'll both nod. Neither of us will remember this conversation in 5 minutes. And yet, here we are, performing it anyway. This metacognitive awareness, this ability to see social interaction as theater, is actually a sign of high emotional intelligence. But it's also exhausting. Because once you see the script, you can't unsee it. And playing along feels increasingly fake. But let's clear something up right now. It's not the talking you hate. It's the performing. Because here's what office small talk really is. It's unpaid emotional labor. Sociologist Arlie Hochschild coined the term emotional labor to describe the work of managing your feelings and expressions to fulfill job requirements. Flight attendants smile even when passengers are rude. Customer service reps sound cheerful even when they're exhausted. And you? You make small talk even when your brain is begging you to just work in peace. The difference is, nobody acknowledges this as work. Nobody says, "You did a great job pretending to care about Jeff's fishing trip today." You just do it. Silently. While also trying to do your actual job. And the mental load of maintaining this performance all day, every day, it's draining you more than the work itself. According to research on workplace relationships, employees spend an average of 20 to 30 minutes per day on non-work-related social interactions. For most people, that's energizing. For you, that's 20 to 30 minutes of forced performance, of code switching, of managing your facial expressions, your tone of voice, your body language, to appear engaged when you're actually thinking about the deadline you're missing while someone explains their meal prep routine. Translation? You're working 2 jobs. Your actual job and the job of pretending to care about conversations that don't matter. And the worst part? If you try to minimize this, if you put in headphones or eat lunch at your desk or decline the group coffee run, you're labeled antisocial, not a culture fit, difficult. So you're stuck. Perform and be exhausted, or be honest and risk your reputation. Here's what really bothers you, though. Office small talk isn't optional, but everyone pretends it is. They say things like, "We're like a family here," and "We value collaboration," when what they really mean is, you must participate in social rituals that have nothing to do with your job performance. According to a study by Oxford Economics, 63% of employees say they struggle to concentrate because of interruptions and distractions at work. And small talk is one of the biggest culprits. But nobody admits it. Because admitting that forcing people to chat disrupts their work would mean admitting that maybe, just maybe, the collaborative culture everybody brags about is actually killing productivity. Most people accept office small talk as harmless, friendly, normal. You see it for what it is: a cultural mandate that penalizes people who prefer to work in focused silence. An unspoken rule that says constant availability for chit-chat is more important than doing your actual job well. A system that rewards performers over producers. And maybe that makes you seem cold. Maybe that makes you the person who doesn't stay for the after-work drinks or laugh at every joke in the break room. Maybe that makes you difficult. But deep down, you know the truth. Silence isn't empty. It's where real work happens. Yeah, small talk fills the room. Silence fills the mind. And you? You'd rather have a full mind than a full calendar of meaningless chatter. You're not against connection. You're against pretending surface-level scripts are connection. You're not antisocial. You're anti-performance. And in a workplace that confuses friendliness with friendship and small talk with communication, that's not a flaw. That's clarity. So the next time someone stops by your desk for just a quick chat, you'll know. You're not rude for wanting to get back to work. You're focused. You're not cold for brushing off weather talk. You're honest. And you're not antisocial for hating office small talk. You're just done performing. In a world that treats constant chit-chat as professionalism, that's not a weakness. That's self-awareness. You're not the problem. The system is. One more thing before you go. If you're experiencing severe social anxiety, feeling isolated at work, or finding that workplace interactions are significantly impacting your mental health, that's bigger than just small talk preference. Please reach out to a mental health professional for support. Your well-being matters more than any workplace culture. Now tell me, are you team small talk builds relationships, or team small talk is a productivity killer? Drop your answer in the comments. And if this video made you feel seen, hit subscribe. We're here every week, breaking down the psychology of work that nobody talks about. Because understanding why you are the way you are, that's not just interesting, that's powerful.